Hello, welcome to the dungeon. I'm your humble dungeon boss, Rainbird, and tonight is a Coding and Calamity night. So we will be looking at StreamerBot stuff, and that's pretty much it. Regular viewers, namely Amir, may have noticed we have a new little guy down on the bottom left here. And he's going to be our little mimic radio. And I want to set him up with like a little bit of a widget, a little bit of a display to show the TTS currently in the queue. He's going to switch from like an active to an inactive mode. He's inactive right now, but he has a little other look, a little setup, little animation. Ymir, walking the dog, but lurking until then. Thank you very much. Talk to you soon. Hope you and Zuko have a very good walk. Great initiative roll, 15 on the die and top of the board. Right now, the board just shows the most recent person who rolled at the top. I'm thinking of ordering it from lowest to highest, but then I'm not sure if I can also have the most recent roll go to the top then. And I already have a leaderboard for traps now. Also, I added the leaderboard for traps on the top left here. And yeah, we have a trap redeem. You roll it, you get a little pop-up with the number of adventures you have taken out. 0 to... Oh, Twitchy Eyeballs 13. Very nice, very nice. Not quite at the top, but better than the threes at the bottom. Welcome to the stream. Glad you can make it. Where was I? Oh, and also, how are you tonight? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for visiting a second stream in a row. You're getting your stream streak up, which will give you more channel points. Where was I? Yes, the leaderboard, which is like the first thing we're going to do tonight. It's up in the top left here. So you can roll a trap redeem. I think it is 100 dungeon keys. It is one of the cheaper ones. For each person, the total is counted up. And then for the community as a whole, it's counted up as well. So we have 22 total adventurers that have been caught in our traps. Ymir is currently the highest with 9 adventures total across 3-ish traps, I believe. I got a 4 across 2 traps. The Sagira got a 4. And I believe Twitchy Eyeballs, you also rolled that redeem on the last stream and got a 0, which is very unfortunate. I'm sorry, but I'm sure you can get up there if you try. The redeem is on a cooldown as well. It's like 2.5 minutes, so it's relatively short. So, you know, it's pretty easy to stock up your coins, I think. So the first thing we're going to do tonight is I'm going to go over the code for the leaderboard and sort of explain how it works, because it really stumped me the last stream. I had a little bit of a crash out and decided to go play Minecraft instead. And the second thing is I want to go through the code for our TTS bot, which our little radio mimic will be part of, I think. I think when I press play on the TTS queue, we'll have little mimic become active. I'm looking for a name. I'm thinking Audrey, because Ymir was playing a game with essentially a mimic vending machine called Audrey, and she was our favorite character. So I might call the mimic radio after her. And I'm going to switch it to active mode just so you can see it. So bear with me a second. Turn this on, and back to dungeon chat. There we go. So that's it in active mode. And when I play some music, let me just give it a couple of seconds of the intro tune just to show you, and then we'll find some chill tunes for the background for the rest of the stream. Oh, I had the volume down. You can see it kind of pops with the music, and little musical notes come out of its mouth. Yeah, rock it, Audrey. So we have a groovy little mimic, and let's find some background music for the rest of the stream, just to keep it going. We will go with Game Chops again, because it's just easy, reliable credit. You just have to credit them. No paying for licenses or anything like that. So let's get the credits up there. And this is, we'll go with Hyrule Cafe 3 Chill Beats. That's pretty chill. How long is that? That's 30 minutes, so we'll have to find something else to listen to in 30 minutes, but that'll do for now. Let's hop over to my little workspace where I can show the desktop and show StreamerBot. So let me clean things up. There's a little all over the place before I share that. Discord up. Okay, and let's hop over, and I might need to turn on my desktop. I will. So we'll just get over here in the corner first, get cozy, get comfy, get everything set up. Let's turn on our desktop capture. Click. There we go. Yeah, Audrey looks comfortable over in the corner there for now. Doesn't take up too much space. And done. All set up. Okay. So we'll go with the trap and leaderboard and explain through that first, and show you what broke my brain previously, because it was something relatively simple. So we have it in chat commands, and I've broken this down into 3 actions. So there is trap switch, which is the redeem. So when you spend your dungeon coins, this is what it does. There is now a trap check, which is a command. So if you type !trap, T-R-A-P, then that will return either how many total adventures you have taken out in your time in the dungeon using that redeem. And if you have had 0, because there's an if statement here, equals 0. If you've had 0, it'll give you a little consolidation message, like, you can do it. I believe in you. And then the leaderboard is relatively simple in terms of actions and StreamerBot, and really complicated because this particular action is actually a whole bunch of C# code I had to write, and I don't like writing code. I'm not good at it. I haven't done it in a long time. I don't know the syntax for C# specifically, and I don't know the references to StreamerBot variables and things, so that it took a while to actually make this. There was no chance of me actually doing this on the last stream, so it's probably good that I did crash out and played Minecraft rather than trying to play it to make this. So I'll explain the redeem real quick first. Let's scoot this over a little bit, give you a better view. My chair takes up so much space. Well, my model takes up so much space. Okay. So you use the redeem Pretty sure that's super straightforward. This is the trigger up here, and once a trigger happens, StreamerBot will run through all of the sub actions for that trigger. So we want to get the user info or username. That is you, the person doing the redeem. It rolls a random number between 0 and 6. That's for the number of adventurers you done got. It'll play the sound mechanical, which is our little trap switch noise. And that is commercially free noise. Can't remember the website offhand, but it's like a website of all commercial free sounds you can use. Some of them are credited, some of them are not. For the ones that require credit, it does say on it. I'll get the name in a while when I bring my browser up. Then it'll send a message to Twitch, to the Twitch chat. User. So we pulled in user with the Twitch ad target info. So we have the user variable floating around, so it pulls in user. Pulled the lever, you took out random number, and we have the random number variable made here, random number between 0 and 6. So it'll just pop it out into the chat. Adventurers. And then that is just outputted by our dear sweet Grizzly Bean bot. Next, it updates a text source in OBS. User traps text, and this is part of the thing that comes up on the screen when you redeem that. You might have seen it. It comes up with, you know, your name and everything, and a random sort of trap animation picture. It also plays a trap sound. Again, these are all commercial free sounds. We have things like wet impact, crunch, male death scream, horror, scream, bear trap, and bonk. So it randomly plays one of these, and it randomly plays it through a group or folder. So when you make a group like this, a folder, you have a little tick box somewhere. Maybe it's here. Right click. It refuses to be seen. Anyway, you can set a group to random, so that saves you like coding any sort of hard coding any sort of random rule to pick a sound, because you'd have to do a whole nother random number, and then you'd have to number each of the sound effects, and then it would randomly play one of them. No, there's just a tick box. I can't find it right now, but it's in there, I swear. Then I have this set up for the displaying. So this is updating the name and the number to what comes up on the screen. But it's updating those in OBS before it shows them. So it's just sending the new information to it, because it's going to be whatever was last sent to OBS. It doesn't update automatically. So if I bring up traps for a second, it's going to be the last person who used it and the last number they rolled. I'll show you that. So the last person who used it was me, because I was, testing it to make sure it worked. And the random picture chosen was the arrow trap. And I got 2 adventures, which is one of the 2 rolls I did to get me to 4 on the leaderboard. Okay. I think that's all relatively simple so far. So this is updating the text in the back end of OBS, but it's not displaying anything yet. And then the next part is the displaying. So I want to make sure all of the current animations or pictures for the traps are hidden first. Then it's going to randomly show or make visible one of the traps. So there's another folder. It's set up to randomly choose one of the things within it. That's what the little dice is, I think. That it? The little dice, random. It'll randomly pick the thing that will happen. So there's spikes, arrows, boulders, snakes, landmines, gas, a crusher, and a trapdoor that explodes, and it'll randomly make one of those visible. So it hides everything and makes one visible. And those are these two folders here. And then it will make the actual sources visible in all of the scenes. I'd have to show you OBS to explain that. I'm just gonna slide this up over here. Yeah, a little more. Okay, all right, here on the left. So there is traps here, and this is this one, and then you have arrows are shown. So when it runs, it hides everything, and then it'll pick one. It picked arrows last time. You can't see arrows. Okay, I don't think I can show both of those at the same time, can I? No, I can't. I can't show both of them at the same time because, you know, this is the software I'm using to show you, like, visually show you everything. So you can't. Ah. Okay, that makes things a little bit more difficult. You have to take my word for it then. So in here, in this trap scene, is where everything is put together. The text for who used the trap, the random image for the visual for the trap, and the little banner that comes up, all of that is here in traps. And then I have another scene called overlay, and traps is a scene inside overlay, like a sub scene. And overlay has things like the chat, it has Mimic Radio in it right now, it has the Roll Initiative banner behind me, it has the logo up at the top right, it has the trap leaderboard up on the top left, everything that's not that I want to be in every single scene and just port over from one to the other. So if I change scenes from here to my dungeon chamber, or if I go to my starting screen or my be right back screen, all of the stuff should move across with my overlay because it's all copied onto that. All the scenes appear on that as well. I can show you that real quick. It'll just be like everything except my current scene with me in it. So it looks like this. It's just the chat and the trap and the radio and whatever redeems come up. Back to game space. Okay. So that is kind of how the scenes work. I know that's not explained especially well because I can't really show you because I'd have to change the scene to a different scene, but then you wouldn't be able to see that displayed on Twitch because my OBS would show you that scene and not this scene with me showing you it. Okay, so it makes the whole trap scene visible with all of the different parts that have individually been made visible on the other scene. It will wait for 6,000 milliseconds, or I think that comes to 6 seconds. I don't know, millisecond to second conversion it does my head in. I just get Google to do that for me. And then it'll hide it again. Goes poof, goes disappear. Now this is the part that was making me crack in the previous stream, and this particular part is super simple. It should have been super simple, but my head was not functioning right. So what I wanted was to create a couple of variables. I wanted to then add the random number into the variable each time, and I wanted to add it to like a community total, which is community kills and bean kills, right here and right here. It actually only took 2 actions. It was so super simple, and I'm going to tell you what it actually does real quick. So this first one, increment user specific redeemer bean kills by random numbers. Every time you use the redeem, and there's the random number up here, 0 to 6, that number is stored in a little box, and it goes through all these steps here. When it gets to here, this little sub action here says, okay, give me whatever number is in random numbers right now. I'm gonna increment that, which means add. So your random number is added to the total of a variable named bean kills. And that is how we get our totals for the leaderboard for 1, 2, and 3. Every time you use the redeem, it totals the adventures you've taken out. And this is user redeemer. So this will only ever be the ones you do. So for example, Ymir uses the redeem. It goes through the whole thing. He gets 2 adventurers. It plays the lever sound. It sends the message to chat. It brings up the displayed little image for it, and it waits, and then it hides the image again. And then those 2 adventurers are added to his total. His total is now 9, so it will go up to 11 in that example. Now, the difference between this one, which is specific redeemer, which is up here, user redeemer, and this one, which is community kills, is this one will add the random number to a total that is not per person. And that is how we get the total adventurers trapped up at the very top of the leaderboard. So that is Gymir's 9 and my 4 and the Sagira's 4 and anyone else who's used the redeem. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. There's 3 adventurers unaccounted for in the total that aren't on the leaderboard. So there's 3 more. I think I can actually check that. Just for the sake. So it's going to be in persistent user globals. It's going to be in Twitch. And let's see. Twitchy eyeballs, you have 1 kill. If you're still there. Ymir has 9. The Sagira has 4. Pichio has 1. That was a test. When you test redeems, it'll randomly choose a follower and roll it for them. So Pichio didn't actually use the redeem. That was just a test one. She is a very good streamer though. She's an ASMR artist. Official Angelo got a 3, and moi, I have a 4, and I also have other variables from other things I've been trying and testing out. Don't worry about them. Don't worry about it. Things down the line. Hi. So it increments an individual per user variable, and it increments the community total variable. And then it activates an action, a different action. So this whole thing is one action. And when it gets to here, it says, use this other action. And that's trap leaderboard. And I have trap leaderboard over here on the right behind chat. I'll move it over so you can see it. So trap switch runs, and the last thing in trap switch is trap leaderboard. We'll come back to trap leaderboard in a second. Just know it is the last thing done when you do a redeem. The other thing is trap check, and just because it's simpler, I'll go through this first. So when you are in my chat, just on the left of me, my left, stage right, the chat over there, if you type in exclamation mark trap, TRAP, that's this up here, core commands, command trigger, yes, trap, and it's enabled. It will get the user specific redeemer variable. So it's getting the variable I mentioned earlier for bean kills, and that's your individual counter. So each person who uses it will have their own counter for that. This is what it looks like. Get user redeem. It is a persistent. It is stored as bean kills. Destination is bean kills. So it's coming into the action. That's like calling it to a class. And within the class, we want it to be called bean kills. You could call it something else, but you know, why not just give it the same name? Saves confusion, I think. And we give it a default value 0, just so if you haven't used the redeem before, it's automatically 0. Just so it doesn't throw up any errors or anything like that. Well, it wouldn't throw up an error, it just wouldn't work. Then we have an if statement. Very simple. It checks bean kills, and it checks that it's not equal to 0. If it's not equal to 0, it'll send out a message to chat. User has eliminated a total of, and then it'll put in the number of bean kills you have. Adventures from the dungeon, and then Rain B3 hype, which is one of my emotes. And then thank you for your diligent work. And I can show you that right now. I can put in exclamation mark trap and enter. And there you go. Rainbird by design has eliminated a total of 4 adventurers from the dungeon. Thank you for your diligent work. Yay! Yay! If the if statement has checked your bean kills and it is equal to 0, so not equal 0 is false, it's untrue, it's incorrect, then it will play this message. User has eliminated a total of bean kills, which will be 0. I could just hard code that to be 0, but I'll just, since I have the variable there, I could just pull it in. So user has eliminated a total of 0 adventurers from the dungeon. Then my emote, Rain B3 cry. That's what the sort of text for the emote is. I tend to just use the little emote thing on the bottom right with the smiley face and just pick my emotes, but that is what the text for my cry emote is, Rain B3 cry. Don't worry, you'll get them next time. And I'm sure you will, because all of my grizzly beans are amazing. Yes, you'll all have your chance. Hey, that is actually a really simple command. It just pulls in a variable. If the variable does not equal 0, it does this. If it does equal 0, it does this, and it sends a message to Twitch. Different messages for each. Simples and easy peasy. Now, the scary part was making the actual leaderboard itself. And as you can tell by these 2 red ones, red means disabled or not enabled, which means I had to make several bashes at getting this to work and different versions of trying to get this to work. So this doesn't actually need to have anything in it because it's being called by another action. But I do have the test trigger here, which I can just right click and then click test trigger and it'll run everything underneath automatically. You don't really have to worry about that at all. Then we'll go through what it actually does. So you've done the redeem, you've used your redeem. it's gone through all of this code, it's shown it on screen, it sent your message out to Twitch chat, and it's disappeared the visual on the screen again. And then it's incremented both the counters, the individual counter for bean kills and the community counter for bean kills. And then it's triggered the action trap leaderboard. You triggered my trap card. So the first thing it does is it gets the community kills to community kills. So basically it's just pulling in that variable. Something I learned yesterday is if you're calling an action inside an action, you don't necessarily need to pull in a variable if it's already there and it is in the previous action, but just for the sake of making sure everything works smoothly, I'm just gonna call all my variables anyway. Just not even gonna bother seeing if that works. It sends to OBS, which is this display software that I use to stream my video, and it sends to a piece of text, trap leaderboard community total. So that is sending out the top of my leaderboard there, total adventures trap 22, and inside it looks like this, total adventures trapped, and then it's sending out the variable number, and we have that up here, and the variable number being held is 22. Simple's easy. That's the easy part, the fun and easy part. Next, it gets the global variable bean kills. That is your individual total, and it sends it to bean kills. It basically holds it with the same name. That's no problem. So now this variable, each person's individual variable bean kills, is sitting in here, and this allows this code, which I will show you. I'm not going to try to explain it. I'm not going to do code on this channel necessarily. If anyone wanted to make a leaderboard, they are welcome to have this code. There's also a version that will send all of the names and numbers of a variable of a redeem used. I think it's this one, and this one is literally just sending test to a text document, because we needed to send it out to a text document, and then OBS is pulling in what's on the text document. So it's sorted in StreamerBot, and then it is sent to a text document that looks like that's not it. Commands, leaderboard. It looks like this. So this text here is exactly what is up there at the top. So Ymir here, line 9, Rainbird by Design 4, and the Segura 4. You can put those away again. Oh, did my music run out, or no? It just paused itself. It does that sometimes. I'm not sure why. Okay, so let's look at this code real quick. I'm just gonna gloss over it. As I said, I don't like coding. I'm not gonna go into big detail. I'm just gonna cover the overall thing. Cover the main parts. Okay, so it's executing this little bit of code here. This var users equals chp dot get twitch users vars int bean kills true. This is just pulling in all of the users who've used the redeems and how many bean kills they currently have. This is our little sorting engine here. So this will go through everyone and sort them out. This turns it into an output string. This ranks them, and then for each, it sort of puts them into the order. So this is ordering them all up. And then this is taking the top 3. So if rank greater than 3, this is rank 1, rank 2, rank 3, then it breaks. It ends doing that job. And then output plus equals rank dot username or user item dot username line user item dot value. That is just what it's writing out, what it will be writing out to the text file. So that's what it actually looks like. That is 1 dot Ymir here line 9, 2 dot Rainbird by Design line 4, that little bit up there at the top. And then rank plus plus because it has to go loop through everything, so it's 4 each. And then the last part is nice and simple, just write to file you can inspect, and this is just writing it out to a text file basically. And I just showed you what that text file looks like, and you just put in the destination of the folder. Which for me, I have all of my Twitch related stuff in a folder called Twitch Projects. I have everything related to commands in one folder, and then I have leaderboard.txt, and then it outputs to it. And I think that if you don't have an existing .txt file here, it will create one for you. Yeah, I'm 95% sure you don't need an existing text file to already exist. It'll just make a new one for you. Now the important thing is I have this piece of code, so now I can very easily make leaderboards. I just have to change the number here, so I can make a top 10 board very easily. Just change that 3 to a 10, or a top 5, just change that 3 to a top 5. And I can bring in any variable because it's just a matter of changing the name here and just running through this process. Easy peasy. Never need to code again, just keep using the same code. Which is how the world actually works with coding. I think a lot of people just reuse the pieces of codes they can where they can, and then some real smarty pantses can like write new code, but we won't talk about them. Just real quickly, the other ones, this was just making sure it would actually write to the file. Yeah, it wrote test to a file that was called debug.txt. Because I was struggling with that and I had to get that specific piece working. And then this other piece of code should just get every single user who's used the redeem. It doesn't have the sorting. It will give everything like a 1, 2, 3, 4, but it doesn't cut off the top 3. So that would output every single person that's done the redeem to a text file, which could also be useful. So I'm holding on to that code. Yeah, and then we have two text sources in OBS. Well, we have 3 text sources. The Total Adventurers Trapped is sent straight from StringerBot over to OBS. The top 3 trappers has a slightly longer trip, so that goes from StreamerBot to a text file, and then from the text file is read by OBS. And then the number 1 Trap Champion Bean, number 2 Trap Master Bean, and number 3 Really Good Trapper Bean, that is all just hard text in OBS. And then the little thing behind it, I was going for like a pixelated wall, like a dungeon wall, and I wanted it to be kind of pixelated because I've been playing too much Minecraft lately. I'm not super happy with how it looks. I wanted to go with a purple outline and green text because that is what the thing that pops up on screen is. The actual notification. This one has the purple outline and the green text. It's not quite there. I need to do a little more visual work on that. But that is essentially how all of that works. So if you are a streamer and you want a leaderboard redeem, that is now something that I can do. Okay, the second thing I spent a really long time doing was rebuilding my TTS with a queue. Which I am super excited for Ymir to see when he comes back, because he likes to send me the D's nuts jokes. Now when he sends those, it goes to a queue. I can see what's written beforehand, and I can play it when I want. And one of the things I might get done during the stream is our little radio mimic here. We'll have a little counter of the current TTS messages in queue, and we can have that count up for each one that is put in and count down for each one that is played. That should be relatively simple. And we'll have him change from his active mode to a sleepy mode, and then, or we'll have him default in a sleepy mode, and we'll have him switch to his active mode when a TTS is played. And I think I want to do a little bit more visually with him as well. It would be cool if he had a play and pause button. I don't think he needs one though. I think he has an active and sleepy state. I think that gives the message. What else? What else do we want to do with our little guy? I will be going through the whole how the TTS works as well. That'll be fun for me. Maybe not for you. We'll see. Dry throat though. I'm gonna have a little hydrate for myself. So give me no momento. We'll have a hydrate and a little puff, and then I'll look for the next chill track to play. Does that sound good to everyone? I hope so. Good. Okay. Let's get TTS bot. This is my one. So I did cannibalize a little bit of the setup from a streamer called Bearded Design. Oh, speak of the devil. Rainbird and a legend of Hey, Ymir, did you notice it didn't play? Huh? Did you notice it didn't play? You know why? I set up a TTS queue. I control the world now. But actually, that's a perfect demonstration. So Ymir just redeemed a TTS. It is a D's Nuts jokes. I will play it in a second. And he got a message back. Thank you for the TTS. Ymir here. You're number 1 in the queue. The radio mimic is munching on your message and will spit it out soon. I have a hotkey that will unpause the queue, and then it will play. And because I love you, Ymir, here you go.
Ymir_ here says Rainbird and the Legend of Buffa.
Buffa D's nuts. Oh. You happy? Happier now, Ymir? Am I going to have you with placards outside? I'm going to end up with signs outside my Minecraft house, aren't I? Yeah. So Bearded Inc. is a super cool, super chill streamer who does this sort of thing. He does making code and redeeming redeems for StreamerBot and bits and pieces like that. And he had a nice free enhanced TTS queue system, and he had the process of a lot of the things I wanted to do, but I wanted to do them in a slightly different order. PC crashed as the message played. Oof. Oh no. I don't have a replay button. You are a mod though, so you can refund your dungeon keys to yourself and give yourself another TTS if you would like, Ymir. You have full permission to refund your keys whenever you want anyway, but you have extra permission right now because something went wrong for you. Okay? And one of the neat features is in the dark hidden depths of my Discord, I have a couple of mod-only channels there. And I have a channel just for me where I can review your message when it came in. I can see exactly when it happened during my Twitch stream, and I can see what the message is right here. Isn't that neat? So I'll show you how that works and how to set it up, and should be groovy. Okay, I should just leave it there. That's fine. Shrink. Go away, Discord. It's actually really simple to do. It's just a webhook, and it's just a private channel. Like only the admin and the mods have access to it. You can make it public. Bearded Ink's specific system was for questions and answers. So, he'd get questions, he'd play the TTS, answer it, and then it would be in the Discord and people could reference their question. I've returned. Yeah, here you go. Here you go, buddy.
Emer_ here says I have returned. Don't let Rainbird silence you. Free the people. Vox Populi. Number D's freedoms.
Number D's freedoms. Number D's freedoms. Number D's freedoms. I love that it says numbered instead of hashtag. Speaking of Vox Populi, anyone watch Hell of a Boss? They shall be numbered. Thank you, Twitchy Eyeballs. Okay. Yeah, so cannibalized code from Bearded Ink for my actual Twitch bot. He, as I said, he's a super cool guy. Me and my partner watched the new Has-Been season. Yeah, great stuff. Excellent season. Vox was such a good villain. I really enjoyed him a lot. He really stole the show for the season, for a lot of the season, I think. Yeah, but we won't say any spoilers or anything. I don't know where anyone else in chat is on that, but I personally really enjoy Has-Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss and would recommend both. Yeah, so yeah, cannibalized Bearded Ink's code. I think I said that 3 times now to make my own. Okay, so there are some minor changes to the original code for my bot that Ymir haunted me with his these nut jokes. Most of them are just turning on and off visibility states for my little bean next to me here. More specifically for my just chatting scene, because this is before I had all of my scenes sorted out particularly well. So that is why we have a more static bean on this scene. But in my just chatting scene, there's a bean like just peeking above the screen. It's the same image, but the bean is just poking his head over the bottom of the screen. He will pop down and pop back up. It looks like he's doing like a... it's actually just like a different image that's disappearing down, and then the bot version pops up, and then the bot version will talk. It switches between a talking picture and a static picture. It flicks back between those as it talks, and then it disappears again. Vump. And then the other static picture of a bean will peek up again. So that's ruining the magic, but it's actually 3 grizzly beans, not 1, that makes that work. So this is mostly in relation to making that work. It's behind my chair again. It's always behind my chair. I need to make like a sound an alert redeem that pops up when something is behind my chair that you can redeem, Ymir, just to scare the shit out of me and get me to remove stuff from behind my chair. False advertising, I want a refund. You can already refund your dungeon keys, and that is all I'm paying you in. Okay. Yeah, so I can go through it real quick. So this is all making sources visible and invisible for the most part. Source visibility state, bean peak. Bean peak is the bean that peaks at the bottom. Switches him to hidden. Then source visible, that's the TTS bean proper that pops up. It waits for 500 milliseconds, which is a very short time. I think it's like half a second, just so the actual TTS message can process through the system before it starts talking. Then it will send the text out to the caption. So you might have noticed when any of the TTSs came in, it was captioned along the bottom of the screen. Then it makes the text out visible. Wait, it updates the text, then it shows the text. So that's kind of like what I had before. If I showed the text straight away before I updated it, it would just show the previous message. So I have to update the text, and then I show it. Then this is the actual streamer bot make go sub action here, and I have speaker bot. There are other TTSs that you can get. Speakerbot is basically by the same people or the same company as StreamerBot, so they're completely well integrated together, and it's pretty easy and straightforward to set up. I think it's just settings and then voice aliases. So we just have Beanbot here, and we have like the default Microsoft Zira voice currently. I do have access now to Monster TTS because I have affiliate. I just haven't set up any of the voices available for that. Ymir, you might want to give that a look because they do have some like monster and demony voices that might fit with your theme pretty well. I was thinking of using Gladys from Portal for my bean. Yeah. I'll send you a message after stream because there's a couple of things we needed, or not needed, but we can talk about, like a death counter as well as something I said I might do for you and would be happy to, and would give me content for my next Coding and Calamity stream. But yeah, this is SpeakerBot. I'm not going to go into the details of setting that up. I might do another time. But yeah, basically it sends your raw output, a raw input. Yes, Ymir, that does sound naughty. Raw input is whatever is sent with a redeem or a message. So when you send the TTS redeem, you have to put in a little bit of text, and that text in StreamerBot is stored under a string, which is percentage raw input percentage. Still waiting for Ymir to make a dirty joke about raw input. I wonder if I just say raw input enough times, maybe it'll summon him into chat. Hi. I'll show you a raw input. There we go. There's my boy. There's my boy. Hey, back to this actual thread. Okay. Not behind my chair. Not behind my chair. Okay. So then it does the actual speaker bot thing where the voice goes to where the text goes to speaker bot and the voice comes through OBS. Then it waits 500 milliseconds, which I think is another half second. And then it hides the TTS bean. It waits another half second. And then the little peeking bean will come back up. And then it waits 6,000 milliseconds, which is probably like 6 seconds. And then it hides the caption. And then it will set the queue to paused. And queues are a really cool thing to get to understand when you get deeper into StreamerBot. You can see most of my commands go through default queue. And this default queue I've put blocking on, which means that if, say, 3 people use 3 different redeems that display something on the screen that have a pop-up, like my dice roller, I'll have a pop-up there. Oh, a 7, lame. That's not a great roll. That's not a great roll, to be honest. I don't think I passed the DC with that. I've failed the stream. But if like 3 people redeem at the same time 3 different redeems that have something that pops up, I don't want them all popping up at the same time. I don't want them covering each other. So because my default queue has blocking, that means it does them one at a time. But I don't want everything to be going one at a time. For example, my leaderboard here, my leaderboard redeem, I want that to be pretty much instantaneous as soon as possible. So I don't want it to have to wait for other things to finish. The same with my call to action, the little Grizzly Bean bot posts that come up in the chat. I don't want them to be waiting their turn while other redeems and things are happening. So they have a separate queue as well. And then I have a separate queue again for my TTS bot. But the reason I have a different TTS, the reason I have a different queue for my TTS is different. The reason is because I want to be able to pause it, and I want to be able to make it play with a hotkey. So basically I have a play button, which is currently the 0 button on my number pad. So I'll show you queues real quick. These are my queues. It's behind the thing. Should I make my desktop space smaller, maybe? No, it's the overlays that are wrong. Yeah, so these are actually the 4 queues that I mentioned. Leaderboard has its own queue just because I don't want anything else to get in its way. TTS queue has its own queue because I want to be able to play and pause it. CTA, call to action, messages that come up in chat, I want that to have its own queue because I don't want anything else interfering with that. It just runs away and does its own thing on its own timer. And then TTS queue, I want to be able to pause it but I need that to be separate because I don't want to be pausing my other redeems. I don't want to be pausing my call to actions. I don't want to be pausing my trap leaderboard. I just want those to play as they go. And then, blocking, I mentioned before. Blocking basically means one at a time. Each process needs to wait for the last one to finish. So that's why most redeems have blocking. The TTS queue also has blocking because I wanted to do one TTS and then pause, and then I'll hit play, and then it'll do one TTS and pause again. That's its job. I didn't realize our tunes ended. Let's pick something else. Let's just go with the Silk Song one. I like that one, and it's near the top. Silk Song. I didn't have the credits up on this. That's fine. Yeah, so I'll sort out the bot in the bottom corner with credits and the queue system and all of that. It's all gonna fit together. It's gonna be visually pleasing. That's what we'll get to in the end. I didn't want that. I wanted to minimize the browser. We want to be here. So I think I went through the whole thing for how the basic TTS works. The redeem comes in here, and then it goes through all the visual things coming up and going down. And thank you for my hat. I don't know if it works too well with my reindeer horns. It goes through all the visual things. It stops, it waits, it plays the sound, it plays the captions, it gets rid of the captions, all of that. And then it pauses the queue. Now, when the redeem comes in, it is just held in the queue. It's not played straight away if the queue is paused. And that's important. It'll go through all of this process for each TTS when it is unpaused, but when it is paused, it just stacks them up in a list. And I'll have a number on our little radio mimic later with a little bit of text that'll say, number of things in the queue. Auto mod, good catch. We just gotta stream a bot seller, like the bad kind of bot seller, not the cool kind of bot like Grizzly Bean bot, but the bad kind of bot seller, the view seller. We got one of them, and now they're dead because they've been killed by auto mod, and good riddance. Okay. So that's how it used to work, except for this pause action. That is the only thing I had to add extra to this. Then we have Startup was a new one. Startup is a lot of stuff stolen from Bearded Ink. When the stream starts up, it'll wait. Was it 10,000 milliseconds? That's just that's less than a minute, I think. Then it fetches the URL from my Twitch video, which is the current one you're watching. Then it creates a variable that holds that URL called Twitch link. And then it makes sure that the TTS queue is paused from the very start. So as soon as stream is started up after those 10,000 seconds, it basically double checks and makes sure that the queue is paused, which it should be by default. All very simple there. Just getting the main thing it does here is make sure the TTS queue is paused, and it gets the URL for my current video, and it gets the current URL for my video because as I showed you on Discord before, it'll show me exactly where in the video when I play the message it happened, which I think is a really cool little feature for moderation. Because you can't escape me, there's no way. The play button is super simple. I just created a hotkey, number pad 0. That is the trigger that runs this action. When this action happens, all it does is unpause the TTS queue. It waits like, I don't know, that's like 1 second. So one TTS takes a couple of seconds, so it'll let one through and it'll be paused before the next one comes through. It just pauses it again afterwards. So unpause, pause again, unpause, pause again. And that's just my just a little number pad, 0 on the number pad triggers it. And that is how I can play TTS and I can get things into my queue. And then the next complicated one I call TTS BG, background. So this is all the stuff that happens in the background that you don't really need to know about too much. Like the message going out to Discord and that whole linking back to my Twitch video. So this is the same action. This is the Twitch channel reward, the TTS bot. And you might notice it's on the mascot as well. And that is because you can have multiple actions triggered by the same redeem, which is a really useful feature. And that also means that you can get the raw input from the TTS and the user who did it in the different unrelated actions without having to do like a without having to do any rigmarole of putting it into a new variable to hold it and then pull it in somewhere else. It's a little more straightforward and easy, I think. I'll show you a raw input part 2. Good one. Good one. Okay. So this is getting the Twitch link again, pulling that in from the start setup action. Then it gets the target username, Mr. Ymir, that's usually you. It sets an argument, user pick to target user profile, URL. That just means it's grabbing your Twitch avatar. And then it increments a value. This is Q answer. This is actually from Bearded's code. I'll probably update the names of these, but basically it's a counter for each one to come in. So when Ymir redeemed a TTS earlier, it said he was number 1 in the queue. If someone else during the stream does another one, it'll be number 2, a third person will be number 3, so on and so forth. And it also has another variable that goes out to here, TTS number 2, into the Discord. I suppose those could technically be the same because they're in the same action. And that's the kind of thing we can clean up today. Do you like my new PFP? By the way, the commission just finished. I'm in love with it. Oh, the red one? Yeah, very handsome boy. Very handsome boy. Can we zoom in on that? Oh, the Ymir that is here. Wow. Yeah, that's a really solid picture. It's really sick. I like it a lot. Good job, buddy. Well, good job to your commissioned artist. Anyway, anywho's, it's getting the Q answer and default value of 1, okay, and then it sends it out on a webhook. And webhooks is what you use to get StreamerBot to talk and send information to Discord. Thank you. It's the same artist as my model, so they nailed it. Oh, nice. I'm asking you to link me later, or actually feel free to put it in chat as well. And or if you want to link it in my Discord, that is also fine. But yeah, message me so I can check out their stuff. Okay. Now, this is relatively simple, even though it looks a little bit more complicated. This is your webhook. This is how, as I said, StreamerBot talks to Discord or sends messages to Discord. You just need the name of your webhook and the webhook URL. You make those in Discord. I'll show you that real quick. If you go to Edit Channel and you go to Integrations, webhooks is right there. You can create a new webhook. You just click this button. It'll create one straight away. This one's just called TTS bot to keep it simple. If you click on it, you can get your webhook URL there. So that's the name and the URL. You just put those both in the StreamerBot thingy, and as long as your Discord is connected to your StreamerBot, it all just works. It all just works. That's them. Perfect. Farid drains, yeah. Farad drains, yeah. Is that right? Is that close? They go by Rainum. Okay. Excellent. I will have a look at those. I'll have a look at them in a while. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing, Ymir. So that was the name and the thing. Okay. You can put any name you want here to be the username, and that is what will come up here. But in this case, we want that to be the username of the person making the TTS, and we have that information in StreamerBot that we can pull from the redeem with %user%. So we'll have whichever user used the redeem, we will have their name be the name on the Discord hook. Perfect. You can also avatar URL, which is the image used. We also pulled in that information, if you remember me mentioning it earlier. So we can do just %userpick%, and we can pull in their Twitch image. And you might notice, I did not make it, but you might notice in my own chat on screen, it does show your Twitch avatar next to your messages. So you can see a couple of Ymirs there, and you can see Beanbot. Good old Beanbot. Then this is the actual stuff it sends out. TTS number, and then Q answer. That's just our number that increments. We've already had a look at that. It just goes up 1 for each message we receive. For percentage time, double or comma, capital D percentage. That is current time. I believe that comes from your computer clock. And then user said, and the asterisks in Discord make it bold. Raw input. As mentioned a couple of times, raw input is basically the message you've sent in with your redeem. That is the string of text. And then see the clip on Twitch, and then this is just the link back to the specific clip. I'll show you a raw input part 3. Thank you, Ymir, for keeping track of that. I don't know how I could manage this without you keeping track of the raw inputs. Anyway, that is our little behind the scenes preview where I can get TTS messages in. And I was like, oh, well, I missed that on chat. It went up too fast. I'll just pop into Discord and see what inappropriate things Ymir has said before I play them on my stream. For the most part, I will just play TTSs like shortly after they come in, probably within seconds. But it makes me feel a lot safer as a streamer having the moderation tool. Just one sec there. Sorry about that. Where were we? That wasn't fun. Yeah, then another number brought in, incremented, no problem. Okie dokie. So Q position, and you can see it's incremented down here at the bottom, between these two. And that is just the number that comes up in the Twitch message, which I'm pretty sure we can clean up to just be one number. Although I do want it to increment down when a message is answered, because I want to build like more of a queue. So when I hit play, it goes down by one. Yeah, that should be relatively simple. And then, you know, we have the actual message that goes out to Twitch each time you send a message in. Thank you for the TTS user. Your number is number Q position in the queue. The radio mimic is munching on your message and will spit it out soon. And then we have our little guy here, who I'm gonna make some source visibility things happen with, and I think that is what we're gonna do now. So we want to have, by default, we want him to be a sleepy boy. So I'm gonna switch that right now to make him a sleepy boy. Gonna switch him to sleepy boy mode. I don't know if it's... No. Maybe I should just have him switch with a hotkey. Because he's kind of neat. Because the Grizzly Bean bot does talk when sound is coming in. So I don't know if we really need our Mimic Boy to change. What do you think, chat? Should we have our new little mimic, Audrey? I don't know if you were here for that, Ymir. I was saying at the start that I want to name it Audrey after Audrey from Look Outside, the vending machine. Nice reference. Yes, thank you. I thought so. Yeah, should we have Mimic Radio be like a come to life, because the queue pretty much stays paused all the time, because they'll only really pop to life when I hit the play button for the length of the TTS, and then it'll go back to sleep. But we already have the Bean who does the actual talking in the voice. That's a hard decision to make. And he is kind of neat being able to like hold the credits. I should move the credits down here on him, maybe. Maybe only have him be active when there's a queued TTS and when there isn't he sleepy. And when there isn't he sleepy. Yeah, we can do that. Okay, so that needs to be in play, I guess. No, when there is something in the queue. I have to clean up the this one. So I'm just gonna rough it out. Might have to cut the stream a little shorter than I was originally planning. But we can rough it out a little bit. We want a logic. We want an if. Basically, we want to make a variable for our queue, or we want to clean up queue answer and queue position into maybe two different things. So we number each one, and that goes up by one for every message. What does that go into? Queue position. Yeah, queue position works perfectly. Queue answer, we could have go up and down. So we want queue answer to go down when a message is played. Let's get queue answer. Copy the sub action. We'll put it into play here. So this will call that variable. And we want it to the opposite of increment. We want it to decrement. Copy sub action. Play. And paste sub action. Want it to... Oh, I was right. Decrement. Decrement. Lower. We want it to go down by one. Okay, so that should call that variable, and it goes down whenever we answer. And we want to add an OBS source that actually shows the current number. We want it set to 0 at the start, and we want it to update every time a message comes in, which means it has to be in this background thing. And it does increment there, and we want it to output to OBS, and we want that to be a number. We want OBS and sources, not visibility. Get GDI, set GDI. That's what we want. Let's create a temporary one right here. That'll just take a second. Okay. This is gonna look like a little, might look like a little mouth on him for a second. Okay, we want our number of messages in the queue. Oh, we don't want to move everything. We just want to move this. Okay, I have to zoom in to move that properly, so it'll do for now. So we want that And we want to connect that to StreamerBot. So we're currently in game stream scene. Game stream space. And we just created it, so it's not on the list yet. Let's try that again. Where did I put it? Let's try that again. Now updated with the fact that time has passed. Okay. Game stream space. There we go. That is perfect. And we want that to be... is it question answered that we used? I think it was. New... Q... Answer. Okay. Oh, we haven't run it though. Let me try doing a test trigger. There we go. Yeah, it chose a random follower to output the message, but the rest is fine. So there were 3 in the queue. And then when I play a message, it should go down again. Because we didn't have decrement, so it's counted up. It hasn't counted down the ones already played for you, Ymir. But they're all... none of them are persistent variables, which means they reset every time I close StreamerBot, which means after every stream, it should be all new and fresh. So let's... No. Maybe because I don't have anything in the queue to play for it to go down. I don't think I can force that to run. This is the wrong one, isn't it? This is what we wanted. Ooh, a test. Okay, there's 1 in the queue. And...
Emer_ here says test.
Okay. Good. And that's not going down. Let's see. Let's see. That is non-persistent. Q answer 1. Weird. That's probably going to take some sleuthing to fix properly. But as I said, I just want to get it roughed out. Okay. And we want to add a piece of logic here. I want to add an if. Logic if. And if... No, we don't want to add it here. We want to add it into the background stuff. Core logic if else. Okay. And we were using QAnswer to be this variable. QUEUE and SWER. That should have percentages. Percent is greater than 0. Greater than 0. Okay. So let's see. If it's greater than 0, that means that our little guy should be in active mode. So we want to I'll add source visibility state. And the scene is overlay, because we have everything coming through overlay. And radio mimic. No, I'm making a mistake again. We want we want the actual radio mimic scene where all the different parts of him live. Because if we, let's see, greater than 0, want awake mimic visible. There he is. Okay, the reason he is a little smaller there is because he has a filter on him that makes him pop basically in and out to sound. It's just the current sound coming through the Silk Song sound is just too like low energy, because you could see him bopping in and out, or even to my voice sometimes you can see him bop. And then for a false result, we want to add source visibility for mimic EP. I want to make that visible. And then we need to put in the opposite versions in both. So we want to duplicate this one, and we want to change this to hidden for EP, and we want to add one here. OBS sources visibility state, and this is EP visible, so we want awake mimic to be hidden. Okay. Okay, so it will see how many is in the queue, and if it's greater than 0, it will hide EP mimic and show awake mimic, or the opposite is true if it is false. If there's nothing in the queue, it just shows EP mimic. And we also want to add our little musical note thingy. So what we can do is duplicate the sub action one more time. And this is a wake mimic, so we want the little tune thing to be visible. That little thing there. And then we want the opposite over here. And they have to be the opposite for all 3 images on both of them. So duplicate that sub action. And this one should be the musical note hidden. Yes. Okay. So I have to fix the queue system in terms of the numbers, like the number in the queue, but the rest of the TTS is all working pretty good, I think. I don't think there are any major issues. It's exactly what I wanted. I can see what's in the queue for moderation purposes, just in case, and I have a play button, so I can make it go when I want. I will see what is wrong with the whole queue answer number, which should be like how many things are in the queue. I will figure that out off stream, but I think I have to wrap up a little earlier, unfortunately. So I'm gonna turf you guys off to someone else. And by that, I mean I actually want to send you to someone nice who will take care of you. let's go back to the dungeon chat room. Okay, thank you so much for the biddy, Ymir. You are so supportive. I appreciate you loads. Buckets loads. Who do we want to raid? Bum, bum, bum. Should we choose someone at random? Or a friendo if they're online? Who in my friendos is online? Friendos and associates. It's actually really tempting to raid Moro Curious. So basically I popped into Moro Curious before Ymir's stream. Then I joined Ymir's stream because I'm his mod and his buddy, and he is fun to watch. And then he raided Moro. So I ended up back at Moro, but then I had to go because I had to start my own stream. It's really tempting. Couple. Yeah, we're gonna go back tomorrow. I think that's funny. Okay. Sound good to you, Ymir? Raid starting. You guys know the drill. Dungeon raid is our message. Why can't I find my I'll do it here. I hope everyone wasn't too bored. And I will see you tomorrow for D&D stream, where I'll be a little bit more productive. Just had some things come up. Twitchy eyeballs, pulled the lever, you took out 6 adventurers, very nice, and that should update the leaderboard there in a second. But we're reading out. Oh, Twitchy eyeballs, you're